it's Amanda from Loops and Love Crochet, and today I have a video tutorial for you on making this mosaic triangle square. So you may have seen on my blog a few months ago there's a mosaic triangle pillow pattern as well, and this square is kind of a smaller version of the pillow pattern, and it would be great as a square for a blanket if you're making an afghan of different squares, or if you make it cotton yarn, it could be a washcloth, or you can use it as a smaller pillow panel, or you could make a couple of them and sew them together to make a little bag. So there's lots of different options of what you can do with crochet squares. But this guy here is worked up using the Mosaic Crochet technique. So on the front of it we have the triangle effect here with the two colors, and then we have a zigzag here, and then the other half of the panel is worked up just the same thing but like a mirror image. And then on the back of Mosaic Crochet patterns, they just look like stripes, and you can see where the chain stitches are, that's lining up where the kind of zigzag stitches are on the other side. Alright, for this pattern here you'll need some worsted weight number 4 yarn and a crochet hook. I'm going to be using a 5mm crochet hook today, so I'll just get those materials and we'll get started. So here's the graph that I created for working up this mosaic crochet pattern. This graph is also on the blog post as well too, if you check that out, and I also have written instructions too if you would prefer to follow a written pattern instead of the graph as well. So in this pattern, or for this graph here, we have 31 stitches across, and each row here is numbered, and each row on the graph counts as 2 rows for your crocheted piece. So row 1, since I'm right-handed and I started on the right here, row 1 you'll work once on the right side going all the way here, and then on the wrong side you'll work all the way back. So each row on the graph is 2 rows of your crocheted work. So we'll start out here working 2 rows of our first color. So it's shown gray here, but I'm going to be using a purple color here. And then once we get to where 3 is here, I'll show you how it works for the color changes to get the design here, because we're actually only going to be changing colors at the end of each row and not in the middle of the row here. So I'll show you how that part works, but we're just going to start out first by working the first 2 rows here on the graph, which is 4 rows of your crocheted item. So we have 31 stitches across, and you can choose whether you'd like to start with a foundation single crochet. So you do 31 foundation single crochet stitches, or you can start with a chain of 32, and then we'll single crochet in the second chain from the hook and in each one across. So I'll just put this here, and I have my purple yarn here. So you're going to be choosing 2 main colors for this project here, and I'm going to be doing purple on the bottom for this next one that I'm making. Okay, so here's my chain of 32 stitches, and now I'm just going to work in the second chain from the hook 1 single crochet in each stitch here. So I just like to work in the top part of each chain stitch, but you can do whatever you prefer. And you're just going to work all the way back to the other end here. Okay, so here is my first row here. This is just the right side of the project here. So now we need to repeat the same 1 single crochet in each stitch on the wrong side. So what we're going to do here at the end is we're going to chain 1 and turn, and now we're going to be working on the back, doing exactly the same thing, 1 single crochet in each stitch across. So this is what we're going to do for 4 rows, which would be the first 2 rows on the graph. So I'll continue working my single crochet stitches, 1 in each stitch, and then I'll meet you back when we have those 4 rows done, and then we'll be ready to start the mosaic crochet part here, and then I'll give you the explanation on the graph there how to work those stitches. Okay, so I'm on the last stitch of my 4th row of single crochet here, and I'm going to be making a color change here to my accent color, and I'm going to be using white as my accent color throughout this square here. So the color change is going to be made at the end of the row on the wrong side here, and it's going to be made in the last part of my single crochet stitch. So what that's going to look like here for the last stitch of the row here, I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch, yarn over just like I normally would with a single crochet. But instead of doing the last yarn over and pull through in my first color, I'm going to place my white yarn here on my hook, and then I'm just going to pull that through, and now I've changed to white. So I'm going to leave my purple yarn attached here. If you want, you can cut it every time and weave it in, but I prefer to weave in less ends at the end, and since I'm going to be putting a border on this square here, you won't see where you've pulled up the yarn on the side there. So I'm just going to leave those hanging. So now you're going to chain one and turn, and we're back to the right side here again. So I'm going to show you how this next part goes because we're going to be using the graph here. All right, so we're at row 3 here now because we've done our 4 rows of single crochet. So 2 rows for row 1 of the graph, 2 for row 2 of the graph, and now we're at row 3 here. Now in this mosaic crochet graph, the color that starts the row is going to tell you what color you're going to be using for the whole row. So for row 3, which is 2 rows in your crocheted work, we're going to be using white, going all the way across this way and then all the way across back. So we'll start with 4 stitches of white, 4 single crochet stitches of white. And now every time we get to a different color in our row, we're going to be replacing those stitches with chain stitches. So we'll do our 4 single crochet in white, and then for these 2 gray stitches, we're going to be doing chain stitches. So to skip 2 stitches here, for these 2 gray stitches, we're going to be doing a chain 3. So you always chain 1 chain for each stitch you're skipping here, and then an extra chain 2 just to kind of create space for your crocheted item too, so it doesn't start to pull in on those rows there. Just to try to keep our edges nice and even here. So after our chain 3, we'll do 1 single crochet in white, and then we'll chain 3 again, and then we'll do 7 single crochet in white, chain 3, 1 single crochet in white, chain 3, 7 white, chain 3, 1 white, and that ends our row. And then we'll do the exact same thing, working our way back, putting single crochet stitches where we just worked them and chain stitches where we just worked them as well. So it'll always match up on the way back. And we're skipping these stitches here because when we get back to our, I keep saying gray, but whatever main color you're using, when we get back to row 4 here, those are going to be where our mosaic double crochet stitches are that come down in between, that are worked on the front of the project, that create that mosaic crochet triangle effect. Okay, so we'll start off with our 4 white single crochet stitches, and I'm going to work over the tail of this yarn here for a little bit as well, so I don't have to weave it in later. So here's my 4 white single crochet stitches, number 2, 3, and 4. And always try to keep your tension even throughout the project too, so we have a square shape when we're done and it doesn't get more narrow at the top as it is at the bottom or something like that. Okay, so I did my 4 single crochet stitches, and now I'm going to skip the 2 stitches that are in the main color where the gray is on the graph. So I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to skip those 2 stitches, and then I'll work my next 1 single crochet in the following stitch. There we go. And then looking at our graph here, so we just did that single crochet there. We're going to chain 3 again, and then we'll do our 7 single crochet stitches. So chain 1, 2, 3, skip 2 stitches again, and then we'll do our 7 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there we are. There you can see our chain stitches and our single crochet stitches, and you can see where I'm carrying that white yarn, but once we put those mosaic double crochet stitches in, you're not going to see where that white yarn is carrying. So we'll chain 3 again, skip 2 stitches, put 1 single crochet there, chain 3 again, and then we'll work the 7 stitches in white again. So skip 2, and then 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we'll chain 3 again, and then we have 1 last stitch of white to work. And the very last stitch here, so we just skip 2 again. So there is the right side of row 3 for our graph, and now we're going to be working the same row 3 on the graph again, but we're going to be working it on the wrong side. So when we work back on the wrong side, you're going to place a single crochet in each single crochet across, and every time you get to the chain stitches, you're just going to chain 3, the same as we did on the right side. So I will chain 1 and turn, and then we're just going to repeat here. So 1 single crochet in the first single crochet stitch, and then we'll chain 3 to match this chain 3, and then we'll single crochet in the 7 stitches, there we go, and then a chain 3 again, and single crochet, chain 3, single crochet in those 7 stitches, and then we'll chain 3 again, chain 3, and then our last 4 single crochet stitches of the row. And in that last stitch, we're going to be working our color change back to the main color of our yarn again. So I'm just going to insert my hook, yarn over, and then I'm just going to place the purple yarn back onto my hook. So I'm just going to pull it up, dropping the white yarn. And there we go. So now we've finished row 3. You can see my yarn end there, but we're on the wrong side here. You can see that we finished row 3. Just going to chain 1 and turn. And there we go. So our chain stitches line up with the chain stitches from the previous row here. And our single crochet stitches line up on top of each other as well. So now we're back to the right side again, and we're ready to work in our main color. And here we're going to be working, it's shown in gray here, but I'm working in purple here. And for this row here, we're going to be working our mosaic double crochet stitches each time that you see 2 gray stitches stacked on top of each other here. And I think in the graph that you'll see on the blog, I've placed X's where all the mosaic double crochet stitches are going to go, just to make it easier for you to find. But on my graph here, I just have it with the stitches that are stacked on top of each other here. That's going to be where mosaic double crochet comes down in between those white stitches to create that effect that's on the front side of the project. So we'll start with our 4. We're just going to work 4 single crochet stitches at the start here, and then we'll work 2 mosaic double crochet stitches, and then a single crochet in this white stitch, and then 2 mosaic double crochet stitches, and then 7 single crochet stitches, 2 mosaic double crochet stitches. So everywhere there's a chain from the previous row, that's where our mosaic double crochet stitches are going to be placed. So you don't really need to look at the graph for that part there. And I just dropped my white yarn because we're going to pull that up again when we need it. And you'll see it on the side of the project here. But again, once we put our border on, we're not going to notice the stitches are on the place where the yarn is pulled up on the side. We won't notice that. So I'll start with my 4 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now we're going to work our mosaic double crochet stitch here. So I'm going to yarn over. And the mosaic double crochet stitch is just like a regular double crochet, but it's worked only on the front side of the project here. So I'm going to yarn over, place my hook into the top of the single crochet stitch 2 rows down, so where the main color is again. And I'm actually going to go over my yarn tail too here. And then I'm going to pop my crochet hook out in front of those chain stitches. And then I'll work my double crochet there. So there's 1 mosaic double crochet stitch worked in front of those chain stitches. So again, I'll yarn over again, place my hook into the single crochet stitch a couple of rows down, and then I'm going to stick my hook right through the stitch back out in front of the chain stitches, yarn over, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2. So there's my 2 mosaic double crochet stitches there. And then I'm going to single crochet in the top of this single crochet stitch here, and now where there's chain stitches again, we're going to work mosaic double crochet stitches again. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the purple stitch again, 2 rows down, and then send it back out in front of those chain stitches again, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And all of the mosaic double crochet stitches are going to be worked in groups of 2. And then we'll just be single crocheting in each single crochet stitch, and then mosaic double crochet every time there are those chain stitches because we skipped a stitch. Okay, so there we are, mosaic double crochet stitches again. So you can see so far how this row is working up here. So we have parts of the triangles here at the bottom, and then the mosaic double crochet stitches in front. So we'll just continue on our row just like that. One thing nice about working on a smaller square project to learn a new technique is that each row is fairly short. Instead of if you were working this on a full blanket, each row would take a lot longer to complete. There we go, and we have our 2 mosaic double crochet stitches here at the end, and then we'll finish off with 1 single crochet in the last stitch. And there we are, and this was worked on the right side of the project, so now we have to repeat the same thing on the wrong side, which is going to be on the back here. So we'll just chain 1 and turn, and then we'll work all the way back along the wrong side, just working single crochet in each stitch. Okay, so we'll just go right across, working 1 single crochet right into the top of each single crochet stitch across. So nothing too fancy on the wrong side here, because all of the kind of fancy work is on the front side. So once we get all the way back to the other end here, we're going to be switching to our white yarn, and then we're ready to start all over again with the white yarn. So we're going to work on the next white row, setting up for another mosaic double crochet row. Okay, so I'm going to change to my white yarn, so I'm dropping the purple, and I'm just going to pull up the white. Sometimes the 2 colors can get a little tangled, so you might have to stop every so often and untwist your yarn that's connected. Chain 1 and turn, and there we go. So you can see that this row here, what you can see on our graph, matches up with what we did on our crocheted work here. So we have this row 3 done and row 4. So now we're going to be at row 5. And row 5, we're going to be working the exact same way that we just worked for row 3. We're going to be working in our white yarn again, starting with 3 single crochet stitches. And then for the 2 gray ones here, we're going to be chaining 3 to skip those, 3 white single crochet, chain 3, 5 white single crochet, chain 3, 3 white single crochet, chain 3, 5 white single crochet, chain 3, 2 white single crochet, and then it'll be at the end of the row, and we're going to work our way back. So I'm going to work row 5 just in the same way that we worked row 3. So I'll just work that guy up quick off camera, and I'll work it on the right side and on the wrong side. So I'll meet you back here when row 5 is complete. Okay, so there are my 2 white rows there, one on the right side, one on the wrong side. So now I have joined back to my purple yarn, chain 1 and turn. And now we're ready to work row 6, which is in the main color again. We'll start with the same 3 single crochet stitches, and then where these stitches are on top of each other, 2 mosaic double crochet stitches, 3 single crochet stitches, 2 mosaic double crochet stitches, all the way across. And that will be on the right side, and then we'll just do single crochet stitches to match up on the wrong side. So again, if you need a little refresher here, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn, and then send your hook out in front of the chain stitches, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So just the same as a regular double crochet stitch worked in front of your project here. So there we go. We'll just continue that all the way across. I'll finish these 2 rows here off camera, and then I'll meet you back when I'm done. Okay, so there we go. So that was rows 5 and 6 on our graph here. So you can see the effect is starting to show up where the triangle effect is here, and the mosaic double crochet stitches on the front. And you're just going to continue working up the rest of the rows in the exact same manner. On a row that starts with white, you're going to work the single crochet in combination with the chain 3 in between each section. And then on the gray rows, working in your main color, for the right side, you're going to work single crochet stitches in combination with mosaic double crochet stitches, and on the way back you just work single crochet stitches in each stitch for the wrong side. So you're going to continue on just like that, and this graph is on the blog loopsandlovecrochet.com. You can click the link in the video details there to head right to the written pattern, and I've marked with X's where the mosaic double crochet stitches are going to be. And then when you get up to the top of this gray section here in one of your main colors, if you're going to use 2 main colors, you're going to be working row 10 is just worked as a regular main color row with the mosaic double crochet stitches on the way there, and then regular single crochet the way back. And then when you get to row 11, it's just a row of single crochet in each stitch there and back, and then row 12 will start the same thing with the single crochet and chain stitches again. Or you can work this project up in just all one solid color, kind of like I did in this one in this variegated yarn. And I just did rows of single crochet in between both sections of the triangle graph portion there. So you can choose what you'd like to do. I'm going to keep working up this square here, and I will meet you up here at the top at row 20, and then I'll show you how to add the border around the square. Okay, so we're finished all the way up to the end of row 20. So here is the square now. Here's the finished square. So as you can see, it does come out pretty even if you keep an even tension through it, and then you can see the triangle design is mirrored twice, just like in the graph here. So all that's left is to add a border on, and you can add a border in any of the main colors, the purple, the white, or the pink. I'm gonna choose to throw in a new color, and I'm gonna use a kind of a turquoisey sort of teal color for the border. Okay, to make the border here, I'm just gonna start out by joining my yarn here. And I'm just gonna pick, you can pick any stitch you want. I'm just gonna go a couple down from the corner here. And we'll start by going down the side of our square here. So I just joined my yarn, I'm gonna chain 1. And I'm gonna work over my yarn tail here. And I'll start with a single crochet in the same stitch. And then I'll keep going down the side, placing 1 single crochet in each stitch, going down the side of the row. So it kind of works out with a single crochet at the end of each of the rows. Okay, so each row, the very last stitch, that's where you're going to be working those single crochet stitches. And make sure to keep your tension still nice and even going around the outside of the square. If you make your tension super tight here, your square is going to be more kind of rippled looking. And we want it to lay nice and flat too. So we'll just continue all the way along. Okay, so I'm just at the last couple stitches here. Once you get to the corner stitch, you're going to do a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. So all in the same stitch. So single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, all in one stitch. And then we're going to be working along the bottom now, 1 single crochet in each stitch here. And when you're working along the bottom, it's kind of like in the other side of the chain that you made to start. So we're just going to go all the way around the square like this, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in each of the corners, 1 single crochet in every other stitch around, and I'll continue on like this, and then I'll meet you back when we get to the end to finish off here. Okay, so I've gone around all 4 sides now, and with the single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in each corner, and I'm just back right where we started here with my last single crochet there. So once you work your last single crochet, you're just going to join to the top of the first single crochet with a slip stitch, and then you can cut your yarn, and that end will need to be woven in. And then there you go. There's your square. So depending on the size that you needed your square to be, you might need to block your square. This one does lay pretty flat, but you might need to block it out, pin it out to the size that you want, and spray it with some water to dry. But there you go. So I hope you liked working this crochet pattern here. Again, you can find this pattern on the blog loopsandlovecrochet.com, or click the link in the video details for the exact link to the written pattern. And if you like this pattern too, I also have a Mosaic Triangles pillow pattern on the blog too, so I can show you what that guy looks like too. Just a larger version of the Mosaic Triangles Square here. So here's the pillow, which is using the same technique with just a lot larger of a square, I guess, and then it's made into a pillow here. So you can also check that pattern out on the blog too if you liked using the Mosaic Crochet technique. And I also have a couple other Mosaic Crochet patterns as well. I'd love it if you subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow Loops and Love Crochet on Instagram and on Facebook. Thanks for watching.